Hello, I am Sydney.
And I'm Melanie, and we're back! The first time we've continued into a second episode.
I mean, that is a trend I would like to do now and then, is have, like, multiple episodes for multiple drawings, just depending on, like...
how much we can talk about a single subject.
Or maybe I'm working on a really good drawing I really like.
Do you really like this drawing,
I
Sydney?
do.
It's been a while since you've drawn Anders.
It has.
So, Sydney said off mic something that is very important to realize, is that Anders is absolutely a mentally ill queer character that is not treated very well by the writers. Because, like, he's depressed, right?
Well, like, the popular consensus is that he's bipolar, actually.
Would you say that's based on justice?
I would say, actually, that's more based on him, like, because, you don't get to see a lot of justice in Dragon Age 2.
Only when he gets very angry.
Only when Anders is in danger, and, like, when he's incensed, but, like, knowing his mania and, like, how he behaves as a character, I would actually say that's probably accurate that he's bipolar, because
of the signs, if you read into it.
There's, oh gosh, I don't know if I'm gonna link it or not. If you can find it, because I'm not gonna link content that is not for children, but there was a really good fic that actually really just captured how he thinks, and it was beautiful and perfect, and I love him. But,
you love him so much.
I do.
I forgot what we were talking about. Anders.
We were discussing
Love
Anders,
him.
like, mental illness.
Mental illness.
We were about to carry on our conversation from the last episode where we talk about, like...
the whole spirits and possession thing.
That, like, Anders is possessed by a spirit, that...
He helped. He helped the spirit.
Oh yeah, like, the spirit's a central character in the DLC.
This is a mutually beneficial arrangement for the two of them.
Yeah, so in quick context, the spirit when he and Anders met accidentally possesses a corpse, and he feels really bad about it, and he wants to stop. So Anders, as his friend, is like, well, you can have my body, because you can't make it back to the Fade right now as you are. So, like, So
essentially he's being like, hey, hitch a ride, I'll help you get there eventually, we'll figure it out. I don't know how to do it yet, but, like, we'll figure it out and get you home. Unfortunately,
it was the beginning of the end for Anders, because, like, when he made this choice, the other wardens
just went fucking...
They turned on him, like, they cover it in the books, he gets stabbed through the chest.
Jesus.
And justice is the only thing that keeps him alive. So, like, it's very intense. So, like, people Anders knew and trusted, like, turned on him immediately the second he became something they didn't like.
Which is insane that they didn't just kill Justice outright.
Well, by that point he was in...
But he does not look healthy. He looks like a walking corpse.
Well, that's what he literally is.
But
anyway,
it just blows my mind that they just wouldn't have off Justice once. Like, you can't hide that.
I think because, like, you meet him in the Fade, and he ends up popping out with you when you leave, and he just takes over the nearest dead body.
Anyways.
He doesn't like it. Anyway, Anders is a possessed mage, so he kind of embodies exactly what the Chantry is afraid of. But... for the most part, he has his shit together, and I don't agree with how they write it, where they claim that, like, his anger turned Justice into something terrible, but...
oh yeah, no.
That doesn't feel right.
Justice doesn't care what's good or, like...
He's a spirit.
Yeah,
he's
like,
not bound to our ideas of morals.
And, like, the concept of justice. So, like, spirits have virtues, I guess, or, like, they
embody virtues and sins or something.
Well, not kind of, sort of. Yeah, they are kind of...
they do.
It's very Christian.
They're lust demons and pride demons and rage and all that.
Right. And there's, like, sloth and wrath and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But, like, so, like, justice embodies justice. And the virtue of justice does not care about feelings or people or morality. It just cares about what is just, which is how justice is in the game.
And their friendship builds on that, because, like, at first Anders is just, like, on the run for himself. The long and short of it is he's looking for an old lover, and he does find him eventually, but it does not end well for them. Anyway, Justice kind of is hounding him most of the time, and is like, mages are suffering. You escaped the tower. You should help them. And Anders disagrees because he just wants to help himself. But as time goes on, he starts to, like, understand that, like, if he is a free man, he has a duty to help people who aren't.
I don't know if that is explicit. I think that's more of your take on the character.
Well, no, because like that he talks about that.
Does he say that justice makes him see that what he should be doing?
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've...
Yeah, so it's pretty much, it comes together, like, when he finds his ex-lover and his ex-lover dies, like, that's, like, the big turning point for him, is, like, I have to do this.
He becomes an activist, essentially.
Yeah, because, like, he doesn't want anyone else to suffer the same way he has.
Yeah.
Because, like, that's, like, the first man he ever, like, loved and who loved him, so, like, that was...
they had a full-on secret relationship.
Yeah, no, they loved each other, so,
and Anders is the reason why his lover is dead.
Yeah, Anders is because they were communicating and Anders working together to, like, help mages escape and stuff.
We mentioned last episode that emotions for mages have to be very under lock and key, so mages cannot have relationships.
Yeah.
As mandated by the Chantry, and the Templars enforce that rule, so they were found out. Carl, who is his lover, was sent to a different circle.
That was notorious for abusing mages.
And then Anders followed him to try and, like, reunite or help him or get him out.
Well, didn't just follow him. He made multiple escape attempts before, like, he managed to join the Wardens, and that made him exempt from the law.
Mm-hmm. But anyways, so their relationship is the reason why Carl is dead.
Yes.
Is because the Templars found out. They used Carl to lure Anders out at the beginning of Dragon Age 2.
They lobotomized Carl.
There is a procedure that is essentially lobotomy, called turning something tranquil, or turning a mage tranquil, or the rite of tranquility. There we go.
Yeah, and it's really fucked up.
Yeah, it essentially, within the mechanics of the game world, it severs a mage's connection to the Fade, which then makes them incapable of feeling anything.
Like, they don't feel emotions anymore. They
become fully just creatures of logic.
Like, Carl gets to snap out of it for a brief moment because of Anders' tantrum with Justice, but, like, the way he describes it is horrifying, where he's like, it's like all the color and light
it's like you're
gone from the world.
Yeah, it's
and
like you're dead.
He begs Anders to kill him before it goes away because he doesn't want to forget, he doesn't want to live the rest of his life being tranquil.
Right. It's too bad that the games never again touch on the rite of tranquility.
Oh,
Dragon Age 2 is... Well, they don't show it, though. Except for, Samson's tranquil mage.
I don't remember his
But, like,
name.
because we can't remember his name, you can guess that he wasn't a very essential character in Inquisition.
And you may not even encounter him.
No.
It was optional.
But yeah, so, like, it is... I almost feel like it's unfortunate that they just never touched on how horrifying tranquility actually is, which also kind of emphasizes their whole, like, oh, Templars have it so much worse. They deserve our
pity.
Empathy and pity. But, where were we going with this? Okay, we talked about Justice, we talked about the whole thing.
That he's possessed.
Possessed.
Essentially, like, all these tragedies lead this character to doing the things that he does. And it just frustrates me that, like, the franchise itself treats this character so badly. Like, I honestly... Like,
he's a very good character.
He's so interesting and complex, and
he was, like, mishandled.
He really was. And it's so frustrating because, like, in Dragon Age 2, they built up this rivalry system. And characters have rivalries with each other. Like, so there's a character who I have a love-hate relationship with, and that's Sebastian. He's a DLC character. He's very devout. But, like, he has this interesting conversations with Anders where he talks about all of his anger, and he's like, you need to, like, do something about it or people are going to get hurt. But, like, they just change it to this boring rivalry instead of, like, Sebastian being genuinely concerned about Anders. Like, he doesn't...
They force rivalries.
Yeah.
There's no reason why they should happen based on the characters.
Yeah, it's just, like, for drama. For cheap drama. Like, it's boring, and like I was saying in the last episode, Fenris, who is an escaped slave from Tevinter, which is a nation of mages pretty much, that Anders kind of idolizes, but like, which is bad. But
Tevinter's objectively bad.
Tevinter's objectively bad.
Anders does not know this.
He doesn't. He doesn't have the experience to know. Because he's also coming from oppression for who he is. So like, Anders and Fenris could have been incredible characters together, But once again, they just build this boring, cheap rivalry.
Yeah, there's a
for
forced
drama.
rivalry. They do not allow Anders and Fenris to get along ever.
And it's such a shame because, like, they would have so much work. I remember reading a very interesting post online, I believe it was on Tumblr, that said that Fenris and Sarah from Dragon Age Inquisition were in the wrong games, and that Sarah, who was an elf who followed the Chantry teachings and believed a lot of their schlock, but was also like a Robin Hood character. Like, she believed in helping the little people. So for her to reckon with a character who was a possessed mage, something she's terrified of, and that she's been taught her whole life is bad, and watching him heal the sick and saving people who need it, and like putting all of his time and effort and not taking a single bit of money for it, like, it would have been something to reckon with. Whereas with Fenris being an Inquisition, he would have to deal with Dorian, who is from Tevinter, a high noble mage from Tevinter, everything he's afraid of, and teaching him how to, like, help the slaves and to, like, fix his nation to be better, because that's his whole thing, but he's still, like, a privileged person who, like,
Dorian
doesn't 100% understand why slavery is wrong.
He does, yeah, they don't really,
they don't do justice to
the writers feel like they've given Dorian enough room to be like, oh, I've grown as a person and I can go back and fix my country. But he really doesn't come that far.
No, because, like, if you are an elven character, he, like, tells you why slavery isn't bad, and it's like, what the fuck?
And you don't really have the option to be like, Dorian, no.
Yeah, you can't tell him off.
Yeah, so it would have been really great to have Dorian and Fenris be foils for each other, because Dorian would have then had to be faced with the fact and reality that, oh shit, there's a lot of stuff that's wrong with my country. I knew there was a lot of stuff wrong with my country intellectually, but, like, I'm starting to understand just
he never
how
had to
messed
face
up.
it.
Yeah.
And, like, Sarah would have been an excellent foil for Anders, because, like, they both have similar ideals and similar methods of dealing with things.
Mm-hmm. I think she might have been able to temper his radicalism. Maybe.
Exactly, and he could have helped, like, her, like, understand, it's like, mages are people and demons are not what we know. Like, we can't just blindly trust the Chantry. Mm-hmm. And it just comes back to my argument of, I feel like the Chantry is always the biggest villain, because it feels like every problem that ever pops up ever in Dragon Age comes from the fucking Chantry. And in the Inquisition, you rebuild the Chantry! Even though most of the shit has come to culmination because of them. I hate it.
Yeah, they do railroad you in that respect.
Like, you don't get to be like, man, fuck the Chantry and fuck Orlais.
Because there's certain races who do not believe in Andraste, specifically the dwarves.
The Jesus character, Andraste.
Yes, I'm sorry, yeah. So they don't believe in the Church of Andraste, and so, like, the dwarves are like, they should be like, what the hell is this? I don't want to be your figurehead.
You don't want, you become like the Messiah in Inquisition. Yeah. It's so frustrating.
You become the Herald of Andraste, and you don't get a choice.
Yeah, you don't get to tell everyone to just fuck off. And when you do, like, they ignore you.
Given certain character builds, like if you're a Dalish elf, you can kind of be like, well, I'm not. You can fight it as much as you want, but, like, the game very much railroads you into, like, building up the Chantry again. You have no
choice. And you restore people's faith in it at a point where, oh, and so it gets even worse. So we touched on the lobotomizing, the tranquility thing.
Oh yeah, it can be reversed.
In Inquisition, you are told that it can be fixed. The only fix that people knew of up until that point was death. And, like, I think of Anders as a character, and, like, that he made this horrible choice, like, where his lover begs him to kill him because he doesn't want to live as tranquil. And he could have been spared, and all of the pain and agony that happened in 2 could have been avoided.
And it's like, it wasn't even that the cure was discovered, it was they have had the cure
ever since. The Templars had the cure.
Well, the Templars didn't, the Seekers did. The Templars didn't know about it.
Yeah, Seekers are still trash.
The Seekers are trash. The Seekers were like the proto-Templars, and then they're still kind of there. It's complicated. But, like, ever since the inception of the Rite of Tranquility, there has always been a way to undo it.
They just kept it to themselves.
Yeah, they kept it to themselves. So a lot of this stuff could have been avoided had the people in power not been total trash.
Yeah. So absolute power corrupts absolutely. Is the general moral of Dragon Age, it feels like.
Yeah, It's so unfortunate because, like, I really do enjoy the world, but I don't enjoy the writing necessarily.
You know, with
there's
all
like bits and pieces I like, but like overall, I'm like, it was okay.
So, honestly just occurred to me, what if this was BioWare's cry for help from EA? It's like
EA's the Chantry.
EA is the Chantry, and it was
BioWare
just BioWare
mages.
trying so hard to be like, holy shit, they're making really bad decisions, they're pinning it all on us, and like, oh man, everything's fucked. Because like, it's come out recently that like BioWare might not make any more games just because like they just don't have it because their employees are so mistreated, everyone's overworked.
They've been run into the ground.
Yeah, and so it's very likely we won't get another Dragon Age game, which, you know, I would much rather the developers be happy and healthy and paid for their work than never play. I would rather never play Dragon Age again than put those people through hell. Because I'm not a scumbag, and I can live with not playing a game and just continue making my own fan content that suits my needs.
Make the content you wish to see in the world. What I do hope they do, if they never finish, Dragon Age 4, or they never finish the Dragon Age saga, is that I hope they publish a novelization.
Oh, that would be cool.
Oh no, what did you do?
Oh no, it's fine. I'm doing some noodling.
Oh, okay. I'm like, it's all disappeared.
Fine. It's
but like,
fine.
another game we like very much, Final Fantasy 15, they canceled some DLC. However, they released a novelization of everything that was going to be in that DLC, so I'm very excited for that. I hope they do something similar because I am kind of invested in the story, because there's this whole, like, oh, the Dalish elves aren't insane, like, their gods were actually real at some point, but they weren't actually gods. And also
they were assholes.
They were asshole mages who were, like, super powerful and, like, elevated themselves to goddom. But anyways, like, there's this whole, like, a renegade god went and like created the veil which separates the physical world from the fade, and like he has awakened after all this time and realized he fucked up,
and he decides
to
tear it down. Asshole.
Yeah, he's very much an asshole, and his solution is, well, the veil must go, clearly, and this will cause a catastrophe for everybody, but I don't care.
Yeah,
So I'm actually really curious what's gonna happen. I want to know how this resolves, because they've set up this grand whole thing.
See, all that matters to me is the Chantry will burn, and that's all I want in life.
Yeah, imagine it will, cause like,
oh, it'd be so good.
Cause there's this whole like,
well, cause it destroys everything they talk about.
Yeah, and like it's also the fact that, oh my gosh, we've never heard from, so like the name for their god in the Chantry is the Maker. We haven't heard from the Maker in who knows how long, and then fucking just like elven gods come down and they're like, yo, sup, we're here to fuck up all your shit again.
By the way, the Maker stopped talking to them because they killed his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Humanity killed his girlfriend.
Yeah. Andraste was his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Who people, I don't know if it's fandom or if it's canon, that people hypothesize that Andraste was an elf.
I think that's canon.
I can't remember.
It's either canon or it's very heavily implied within the story itself.
There's a lot of elven erasure.
She led an elven rebellion.
Yeah.
So, like, I think that's where the idea comes from.
There's a lot of erasure of elves from the history of the Chantry.
Yeah.
Like, the first Inquisitor was also an elf.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And Andraste was a mage.
Yup.
She was 100% a mage. But they're like, oh no, she's just a divine holy woman. I'm like, bitch, she's a mage! She has a staff!
Yeah, so pretty much, I think the long and short of everything we have said today is the Chantry blows.
Fuck the Chantry.
Fuck the Chantry. So, people will forever come at me and was like, you supported Anders and then he blew up a Chantry? Yes. I used to hem and haw about it, but never again. I 100% stand behind what Anders did because the Chantry is ineffective, and everyone that was in that building let people die.
I'm sorry, I just had a thought of something.
Okay.
The Chantry was inefficient!
How dare you imply that Anders is a horse in a hospital? I don't think we could be married anymore.
I'm sorry, it just came into my head.
I want a divorce.
Who would be the character who says that, though?
I don't know. Probably Meredith herself.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, God.
Sorry, I did not mean to imply anything. I just thought it was really funny to say. So how's this coming? How's your sketch
I would
coming?
say this is a pretty solid sketch, to be honest.
your
I'm
lovely
quite
boy
happy.
Anders.
I love him so much.
So another fun fact, Sydney has Anders' nose.
I do.
You do. And the freckles.
I do. God, there's a mod someone made that's like, clean up Anders' hands, because his model, his hands have freckles, and it's like, man, fuck you people.
His hands weren't dirty!
They just had freckles. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. It just means you're queer.
What?
Have you not heard that?
No?
That it's like this whole joke that like people with freckles on their hands are queer.
I have freckles?
Probably. It's okay, they're in your heart, and that's all that matters.
The freckles are in my heart all along.
So I would say this is a finished sketch, and probably enough rambling from me about my feelings of mage rights.
So typically, when I have to warn people to not ask about this topic, because this happens. She just goes rabid and talks about mage rights and how Anders was right and how everybody else is wrong. So this is me allowing Sydney to publicly get on her soapbox and just rant and rave about Anders being right.
And if you would like to just have me do a recording of hours-long content of me rambling,
God.
please comment below.
Please don't. I won't be a part of it. You can just...
That'll be a solo recording.
Oh my goodness. But anyways.
So thank you for tuning in and listening to me talk about my feelings, and we will see you next time.
And as always, if you want to see more of Sydney's art, you can find her on Twitter and Instagram at CCLunaArt, and you can also support us on Ko-fi and Patreon at CCLuna.